Hello everybody and welcome for a new video. Today it's about Kerbal Space Program. So for those who don't know, it's a game where you can craft rockets and planes and just fly them. So you have two different modes on it basically. It's the creative one with all the parts unlocked and the survival one where you have to craft planes, fly, finish missions and other to get rewards. So there we have our first rocket. It's made of the crew module. To get the crew, you can make some missions like this. You can analyze the things around the rocket or analyzing our scientific modules. So I just have the solid fuel booster, so we cannot control the rocket very much. We have a parachute and it's almost all the way done, so we just have to look at the scientific missions at different altitudes, and after we will get back on the surface. So this game is very realistic with pretty realistic physics and others, but you just have one difference between this and the real life. It's the distance between the planet and the atmospheres. For example, in the real life, atmosphere is at 100 kilometers height, and here it's only 70. So it's easier to get in space, but it's not that easy. So this rocket just came at some 1,000 meters altitude, and we just deployed the parachute. So as you can see, we are falling at approximately 200 meters per second. It's pretty fast, but not that fast. We have done almost all the missions we have in this thing, and we will just land perfectly nice. So why doing some research with that things? It's to get science points, and in this game science points can be used to unlock new parts of the rockets. So you need science to unlock parts and to make bigger rockets, to make more science to unlock more parts. As you can see, we are in the center of missions where you can just use your missions and find them. So we will build a new rocket. They told me to test some parts, so we will test them, and we need to just use all of them. I just tried to place this at the side, so as you can see we can just use that to at the launch, because we need to use that on the launch pad. I think I have no thermometers to make some other science missions, and we have all the mystery goo. It's the name of the first mission thing I used. So we have Jebediah for pilot again, because it's my favorite and it's the community's favorite, because it's the first one in the game, but we will not use it every time because it's just a pilot, and sometimes we need a scientific or an engineer, so it's all that. As you can see, your screen is rapidly covered by scientific missions, control and others, so I need to take the temperature all the way up when I can. So the rocket is at Mach 2, actually Mach 3. It's really fast. We almost touched Mach 4, and we are at 13,000 meters away, or 16-17 kilometers from now. We are getting slower and slower, so it's like in the real life. We will do an elliptical orbit, because we will not orbit with that thing. It's not enough powerful, but as you can see, we are reaching almost 30 kilometers height, and we will fall down after on the other part of the planet. So we don't have fuel, and why I just kept this thing on, it's because we can get money by recovering our rocket parts. It's not to use aesthetics or other, because it just makes me faster, so it's dangerous to keep it. And as you can see, we will crash. Happily we can restart and not make him die when it's crashed, but it's just because I was not able to open the parachute, so the rocket just broke and fall like a rock. It was not a rocket, it was just a rock. So I'm just remaking the rocket to be a little bit nicer with new parts. So as you can see, some barometers, thermal protection parachute. It will help me to slow down and to prevent so the eating parts, and 3 parachutes instead of 1, because 3 is more than 1 to slow down. In most of my missions, we will just slow down more than we need, for example 5 meters per second instead of 10, but it's to get sure that nothing will be destroyed when touching the ground. So my screen is almost every time fulfilled with some informations like this, but I will try to make some views without all the informations and other stuff. So you can see your missions with the tabs in the right corner, and you have some tabs that I never used because it's so complex. Sometimes you don't need to use them. And as you can see, the rocket just don't flew great, but it's enough to make all my tests and informations. Not all, I always put more than I need, because like this I'm sure that I can make all the tests I can make, but there's always one or two that will not be used, because sometimes you make a really nice flight and you can get a lot of science in a part of the world and you don't have anything to collect it. So as you can see, I just sped the video up, sped the editing up, and we're continuing falling. So it's very long. It took almost the half time of the mission, more than the half time of the mission, because for those who don't know, even in real life, in 10 minutes the rocket can be in orbit. In 2 or 3 minutes, all the important parts of fly mission is done. So for things like this that just goes in high atmosphere and goes down, it's really fast. So for this rocket we will use some liquid fuel booster, like that we can control the rocket, and a solid fuel booster to just get started and accelerate. So it's a pretty simple rocket, but I wanted to go higher than the previous ones. So as you can see, we need to test the solid booster. It's one of the missions, so it's that we'll do. You have conditions for that type of missions. It's in French, but the conditions were to be on this planet and on the launch pad. So I just tested it, and now we can just use the other motor to get in higher altitude and make some tests. So we need to test the parachute between 8 and 11 kilometers altitude in flight on Caribbean, and between 110 and 200 meters per second. So it's what I'm doing. I'm just trying to keep the same speed and the same altitude. So as you can see, the mission is done. I just done 2 missions. We just did 2 missions. And missions give you rewards. It can be science, money, and some prestige points. It's like stars and rate, and will help you to just have some things. You can do things with prestige points. You can convert them into money or other, or just take missions. It's in the lab on the left of the screen that will appear on the part on the left of the screen. I will put text on it. So you can upgrade buildings to just make bigger rockets or have some missions more or others, but we don't have a lot of money to do that. So when you take a mission, you always have a little bit of money in the beginning and a big part of money after. It's principally the first way to get money in this game, by doing missions. So I'm making the rocket a little bit more better. I think I don't have words for this, but it's more protected and less all on the exterior part. I just used a bay like this. So placing some liquid fuel engines, because I prefer liquid fuel, but on the early game it's not easy to use because you have a limited part you can use on a rocket. It's 13 on the beginning, so you cannot use a lot of liquid fuel engines. So, and you can always program in which order you want the rocket to launch. As you can see in the right part, we have the first thing that we'll do, it's opening the motors. The second, it's detaching the stages. The third, it's using the second motor, and again and again. So you can just launch these sequences by pressing space, the space key on your keyboard, not the space. So I will use solid boosters because the rocket is composed of more parts than we can use, and I will reduce the science number of parts. So I just have to take off some parts and other, but we can finally launch. And it was too heavy, so I upgraded the launch pad to launch some rockets very heavy. And here we are at the launch pad. We have some missions to do and others, so all in the order. It's the biggest rocket I've made in this video. So Mach 1 is passed, we are continuing accelerating. Mach 2, so the boosters separated, main boosters on. Mach 2 is again passed, almost Mach 3, taking some science and other. Mach 3 is passed, almost Mach 4. We're in orbit, not a real orbit, but we're in space. And we will almost pass the space limit. 68, 70. We passed the space limit. I'm just making this on the side to make a more circular orbit, but it didn't make that because I don't have enough power. But it's to prevent this to go straight down and to burn in the atmosphere. Like this, we will slow down rather than just exploding in the atmosphere, because as you can see, we have a little thermal shield on the front and other. So the mission just used to be 7 minutes long. We're at 7 minutes from the time of the launch. We closed the bay and we're at approximately Mach 5, I think. Mach 5, Mach 5.5. So it's very fast. As you can see, we are burning in the high atmosphere with no that much air. So you have some bars like this that spawns when you're faster than you may be. So it's the resistance of the rocket, and if each one tells you when the rocket will explode. When it's fulfilled, it's that this part will not support longer it and will explode. So the 3 parachutes are ready. I think we just don't open the 3 ones because I just only see 2 of them. And just putting the rocket in the right place. We are at 100 meters from the ground. The 3 parachutes are okay, so we're in the descent phase. Excuse me. So this is really slow, and as you can see, you can press F2 to just delete all the text and other or replace it, and it makes you perfect views from the rocket and others. So this is the pilot view. You can click on the buttons on the right parts to see him or to have this view. So it's what the pilot used to see. It's not that much nice, but it's the first cabin we can unlock in this game. So we are almost touching off the ground, placing in the right position and landed. So he can just make some missions and other. So thank you for watching and see you in the next video. Goodbye, have a nice day.